Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have an instructive game to share with you from 1993. Rapid format. On the white end, Garry Kasparov playing against Nigel short. Okay, with this one, we have a Queen's Gambit declined, 3 knights. D takes C is the Vienna variation. Queen A4 check. Knight B, D7 is played. In response to that, Kasparov rolls with his central majority, plays e4, and follows up with what we might say a more convenient way to recapture on c4. Rather than queen captures pawn, the bishop gets to develop. Now, a top move in response to this check is c6, and if c6 is played, white has no better than to collect the pawn straight away with the queen, with b5 nearby. So let me give you an idea of what this looks like. This is how the computer is looking to play it. a6, and soon thereafter, c5 to challenge white's center. All right, how it plays out here, we see the knight block, e4, and black goes with a6. Now, if c6 is played in this position, yet again, white's going to have to recapture with the queen. If you recapture with the bishop in this position, b5 is there landing a fork, black is winning. Do know that after queen captures c4, b5 is no longer a good follow-up with the knight on queen knight on d7 rather than home base. You would be hanging c6. All right, in this one we have a6. Now you can collect the c pawn with the bishop. There is not a fork in this case because there is a pin on the a file. A pawn pinned to the unprotected rook. If b5, there's bishop captures b5. Now, this is something you have to weigh carefully. It is not long off before this is a serious threat. Now, how black plays it, he goes with c6. The queen has to find a new home, or one of the pieces at least needs to find a new home with b5 supported. In response to c6, the queen, in fact, goes home. Now, let me demonstrate when this tactic will be successful. It's not long off. So let's say rather than the move in the game c6, we had bishop development and a same sides castles, and white flicks in a flight square. You're lost. You're lost because this one pin, not enough. The knight is now unpinned with the king castled. b5 would be there in this case, and after bishop captures pawn, there's this slick move, knight b6. Targets the queen, defends the rook, unpins the pawn. Next up, queen moves, bishop falls. Okay. In this one, what do we have? No bishop to e7. We have c6. Queen goes back home. I did question why back home rather than, let's say, c2. Computer says you could go to c2. It could be that Kasparov was anticipating that the c file can maybe open up one day. Queen's not going to feel too comfortable on a completely opened c file. It could also be that from home base, the queen is now here to support a d5 advance. All right. At this point, black continues with bishop to e7. For these next few moves, the computer is kind of crying out for queenside play. It wants to go with b5 and follow soon thereafter with c5. So let me put this on. In response to b5, if bishop b3, you have to be careful. Your knight can be kicked, e4 can fall. That is still a way to play it, Gambit fashion. If you don't want to play in that way, giving up a pawn, bishop d3, there you go, c5, doing what? Challenging white's ideal pawn center. I'm drawing a lot of attention to this ideal center because this is something we could kind of point to after the pieces are back in the box. Where did black go wrong? Didn't challenge white's center quickly enough. Okay, how it plays out here, we have bishop e7, same sides castles, a4, black continues with b6. Now, just moments ago, I said for the next few moves, the computer is calling out for b5. Yes, b5 even here. Now, this isn't to say it's a great move at this stage. We're still looking at about already a +1 advantage for white, no matter what black plays here. b5 is available with that similar trick. After a takes b in this position, black would have knight b6, targeting the bishop, defending the rook, unpinning the a pawn, and only next, c takes b. Okay, how black plays it: b6, bishop d3, bishop b7 is played here. Yet again, computer wants c5, challenging the duo right away. Now, if c5 is played at this point, let me give you a feel for one of the ways the structure can change. Computer's looking at both d5 and e5. I'll just touch on one, the one we end up seeing in the game, an e5 push. In this structure here, this is what it's looking at. Bishop c2, knight reposition, a battery. Okay, that's defended. The knight, its destination, c6. Bishop's eyes open up along this diagonal. All right, how it plays out in this one, we do not see c5, bishop b7 instead. Now comes e5, knight d5, knight takes knight, c takes knight, and white is basically winning here, structurally speaking. The evaluation is +2. Okay, why might that be the case? Why is this so good for white? Well, you could point to this bishop, and you could point to this pawn. This pawn is restricting multiple black pieces. This bishop does not see the world. If black is not able to operate on this e4 square, this bishop, not so bright a piece. It's not even there indirectly to support something. Ineffective. Now, at this stage with this structure, the computer is really looking forward to exchanging this bad bishop off. So this idea of a5, bishop a6, black never ends up managing that. Now, how it plays out from here, we have bishop d2, a5. Now, this makes me question, okay, a5, you end up not seeing bishop to a6. Maybe one of the points here is to clamp down on b4 and even prevent white from expanding with b4, grabbing more space in the position on the queen side. All right, after a5, we have rook c1, and the knight repositions, goes to b8. So it does want to play bishop to a6 in this position, even going a step back, rather than, let's say, this rook c1 move. I was wondering why maybe rook e1 was not played here. You could go with rook to e1 and prepare to meet bishop a6 with bishop to b1, duck the light square bishop exchange. Very strong piece pointing at h7. All right, in this one we see rook c1, knight reposition, follow up bishop to b5 yet again. And this would be an even more appealing setup. Rook e1, if bishop a6, bishop b1, bishop on b1, rook on c1. Yeah, not interfering with the queen rook. All right, we follow up with the bishop b5. So a bit of a curious move. It does stop knight c6, but there are two paths into the sensitive b4 square. The knight is able to go to a6 in this position straight away. Now, if bishop a6 is played at this point, I don't believe we would see a capture on a6. Instead, this is probably a top candidate, simply supporting that point. In the case of bishop captures bishop in this position, you could take with the queen or the pawn. Taking on these double isolated pawns has its points, that is for sure. This knight, not having such a wonderful time. Where do you go? These two invasive pawns, if you want to ever kind of test out, are my invasive pawns really having an influence in the position? Check out the health of your opponent's minor pieces. Is the mobility of those minor pieces limited because of the invasive pawns? In this position, you bet. Tough days ahead for the knight. A lot of squares taken away from the black pieces. And add the d4 pawn to that list, even though it's not considered a space invader pawn. Wherever the knight goes, it's completely dominated. Anyhow, how this one plays out, we see in response to bishop b5, knight a6, follow up queen b3. Rook c8 is played here. It's looking at knight b4, bishop a6, okay. Black contests the open file. Rook c3. Black continues with knight c7. Computer says the best way to approach this is with rook captures rook. At first glance, not really the most appealing continuation because you are now helping white to repair the only square you really have to work with. But the point is to now follow up with knight c7 and yet again this idea to exchange. Bad for good bishop. Okay, we don't see this. We do not see the rook exchange. It's knight c7. Bishop backs off. And from here, bishop b4 is played. If black tries bishop a6 at this stage, that's losing. If bishop a6, there's a trick now. Rook captures knight. If bishop captures bishop, you collect the rook. You're on the queen. And if black simply collects the rook, you're going to be playing up material, two minor pieces versus rook imbalance. Okay, bishop a6, not working. Neither is bishop to b4. Pop quiz, what is your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, we have the Greek gift sacrifice. Bishop captures h7, check. King captures bishop follows. If you decline the sacrifice, here's how play might develop. Knight g5, and now this idea to play to h3. This is overwhelming. I played it out a few. This is going to lead to checkmate. After this slick move, bishop g8, it's a mate in two. We're either going to have checkmate next with queen h7 or the queen capturing on f7 for mate. So rook captures bishop, there you go. All right. However you slice it, black is in trouble. Accepts the sacrifice, knight g5, check is there. Tries to hide in the game, plays to g8. If you step forward, this is big trouble. Knight's ready to move. Discovered check, queen falls, also queen d3, right around the corner. White is attacking with how much? Queen, rook, knight, bishop, 20 points of material. Black has not a single piece around to help defend the king. You don't survive this. Okay, how it plays out here, the king goes to g8. Follow up rook h3. And from here we have rook e8. If bishop captures, we'll have checkmate. A familiar mating pattern. Let me just play out the moves. I like seeing these moves in action. A lot of distance covered with the major pieces. There we go. Another only move. And mate on h7. All right, how black plays it makes a little room for the king on f8. Queen f3 follows. Mate in one threat. That's covered. Queen h5. Follow up king f8. And knight h7, check. the king goes to e7 here. If king g8, there's knight f6, check, and you're winning the queen next for free. If pawn takes knight, there's checkmate. The computer is evil in this position, doesn't even want the queen with check. It's saying bishop g5, and it's just mate and a couple from here. Pawn takes knight, there's a check, follow up, checkmate. And there's also this idea, let's say the queen runs away, to just move the knight with check, and you stop this and go in for mate on h8. Okay, however you slice it, big trouble here for black. After the check, king goes to e7, bishop check, f6 only move, and after knight captures f6, black resigns. Queen is hit, rook is hit, knight is poisoned. If the queen moves, there's knight captures rook, discovered check, king moves, the attack continues, white playing up material with an attack. That's going to be decisive. If the knight in this position is captured, we would have checkmate. Bishop captures pawn is there, only move, and from here check and mate. Okay, your thoughts on this one? Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.